Hello everyone, it's Susie from the Smoky Lake Public Library and welcome to After School Adventures. So this week we're going to be doing a couple of cool crafts and they're going to be kite themed because where I am we've had a couple of really windy days, so I thought it would kind of suit. The first one we're going to do is something that we actually stick on our window, and that's so birds, if they're flying around on a windy day and just cruising along, they don't go crash into your window. So the first one is like a window sticker, and then the second one is an actual kite that you can use. Alright, so for our kite window stickers, you're going to want a whole bunch of tissue paper in different colors. You'll need some black construction paper, a tiny piece of yarn. You'll need a little bit of construction paper, not very much. You'll need a pair of scissors, probably a pencil, and then finally you'll either need some clear packing tape or some contact paper. So we need something clear and we want something wide like packing tape because we're going to put a big sheet full, and anything skinnier will just waste too much tape. So clear packing tape is good, or like I said, contact paper. So our first step is to make the kite shape. So we need our black construction paper, and then if you want to help with the symmetry, you can fold it in half. And a kite shape is usually like a diamond, right? But oftentimes it's kind of shorter on one side, so like a big triangle on the bottom and a smaller one on top. So go ahead and cut out whatever size kite you like. There, and then you open it up and you should have a pretty good kite shape. So once you have your initial kite shape, now we can fold it back up again. And we're going to cut just in the center. We need a kite outline. So we need just a border of a kite. So go ahead and close it back up. And then just cut starting on the fold, making your outline. So it should be pretty easy if you're doing it this way. Just make sure not to cut through on any places that's not the fold. So basically just cutting out a kite shape on the inside that's a little bit smaller. And then you'll end up with this. So this is going to be the base of our kite sticker. And now before we go any further, we're going to set our kite aside and we're going to get out our tissue paper. And what we need to do with the tissue paper is just have a bunch of little pieces. So go ahead and just, you can cut them or you can just tear them up, but just smaller pieces, maybe about that size, that are going to be layering on top of each other a bit. So they can be kind of varied in size as well, but you want to get a good stockpile going because we have to cover the entire inside of our kite shape. So go ahead and get that ready before our next step. Alright, so I've got a pile of tissue paper here, and then actually I did one more thing. With your kite shape, if you want, you can add just a line of black construction paper. I just have it taped on here, and that'll just kind of make your kite a little bit more stable right in the center at this wide point, especially if you're doing a big one. So maybe add that to your kite if you want. But now we're going to set aside our tissue paper pieces and we're going to take our clear tape or contact paper. And now we have to pick the front of our kite and then put the front facing up. And now take your tape. What we're going to do is we're going to create kind of a sticky skin for our kite. So take one piece of tape and make it about the length of your kite. And we're going to start right in the center. So we're going to put this right down the middle of our kite. So it's going to be a little tricky to do this without getting your kite stuck to the table. So try just push down on the paper, and then right after you're done sticking it, peel your tape off the table. So there's my very first piece. And now I'll work out and do the size. So for the size I'm doing, I probably only have to do one on each side. So I'm going to place this down. And it's probably good if the tape overlaps a little as well. Go ahead and do one, peel it up again. And then place it back down and do the other side. So there we go. You should have completely covered inside of the kite. And you can see that I left the tape hanging off the sides. We don't have to worry about that right now. But now we're going to flip it over so sticky side is up. And now we're going to stick on our tissue paper pieces. So the look we're kind of going for is stained glass. So if you've ever seen stained glass, it's colored glass that uses the different colors to make an image. So you don't necessarily need to make an image, but you want to use a bunch of different colors, and you do kind of overlap them a little bit just to give it an extra cool look. But go ahead and just start sticking your tissue paper pieces on the sticky side of your kite, kind of randomly. Just stick them in however you think you'd like, and then we'll finish up. Alright, so here's how it's looking from the front, and that's what it looks like on the back. So once you're all done with that, you can now just kind of cover up the back. So you can just fold in these extra pieces that were hanging off the edge here, first of all, just to get them out of the way. And then just take some more clear tape and cover up the back of the tissue paper. This is mostly just so it doesn't go off and fly away. And because now we kind of have a full surface here to tape on, you don't need to tape in necessarily big strips. So you can just tape however kind of works. Alright, so once that's all done, the last step is to make up our kite string. So we're going to get out our yarn and construction paper. So first thing, I'm going to cut out maybe about 3 little bows for our kite string, because this is what that's going to be. So a bow, you can make it as detailed as you like or as simple as you like. But if you want to make a really simple bow, it's basically just 2 triangles stacked on top of each other, just like this. So that's all I'm going to do for my bow, is just something really, really simple. But go ahead and make those up for our string. Alright, so I've got my bows, and now I'm just going to tape them onto my string. But before I do that, I'm going to tape my string to my kite, just so I kind of know where I want it to sit on the string. So just take a piece of tape, stick your string on the bottom of your kite, and just stick it on like that. Nothing too difficult there. And yeah, then just pick where you want your string decorations to sit. So this will be a little more difficult to tape, so you'll actually want to tape from the back. And you'll just want a small piece of tape for this, because these bows are pretty small, right? And if it's still a little big, what you can do is just cut the tape to size while it's on here. So just like that. So there's the front, and then on the back, just a little bit of tape. Easy as that. And then once we're done attaching these, we're all done. So here's how it looks on the window. The colors aren't really showing up on camera, but it looks really, really pretty. And like I said, that'll just protect the birds so they don't have to crash into our windows. Now let's move on to our next craft. Alright, so for our next craft, we're going to be making something called koinobori. So they are a type of kite that are used in Japan, and they look like a koi fish. So they're really, really pretty. And for ours, what we're going to do is we're going to make it out of a toilet paper roll, a bunch of tissue paper, some sort of twine or string, and then something to stick it on, like a stick or a dowel, or this is a knitting needle. You'll need some scissors and some glue. So first thing we have to do is cut out some tissue paper. So what you need to do is take your tissue paper. If it's already folded up like this, that's perfect. And you need to cut out some circles. So the circles can be whatever size you like, but these are going to be the scales for our fish. So if your circles are small, then you're going to have to do a lot more gluing. So cut out some circles in about 3 colors, I think is a good number. And then once you have that, take those circles and cut them all in half. And these are going to be your scales. So go ahead and cut out a bunch of those. So once you have that done, you can take one of your rolls and just stick some glue all around one edge. There, perfect. And then we just start sticking on our scales. So to kind of start, what I like to do is take the flat edge and put it inwards, and then leave the rounded scale edge kind of hanging off a bit. Just like that. And our scales are going to be overlapping a lot, so see, it kind of is on top of the white a little bit. Go ahead and stick a ring of scales on your fish. And then once you have that layer done, go ahead and stick some more glue over top the bottom edge of this tissue paper and also on the toilet paper roll. And we're just going to keep building up layers. I will say don't overlap the tissue paper too much, or then it won't be sticking, right? Because we're not putting any glue on the tissue paper. So just, we want to overlap it just enough so that we're blocking anything showing through, right? We don't want to see any of the toilet paper roll. So here's my second layer, and we're just going to keep doing this all the way down the fish until this flat line of our semicircle meets the bottom of our roll. All right, here it is, all covered in scales. Now the next step is to give it a nice tail that will wave in the wind. So we're going to get our tissue paper back out, and we're going to cut some strips now for the tail of our fish. And then once you have your strips, take your glue and place some glue on the inside of the tube with the scales hanging off. And then just glue your strips in there. And so we're going to go all the way around. Go different colors if you like. I think I'll just go blue for this. Alright, and then once you have your first layer done, if you'd like, you can kind of flip it up like this and do the same thing again. And maybe on the inside layer you could do a different color, but I think I'll just do blue again. And there we go. So this is the fish body, and it kind of will fly out like that. But the fish kind of needs a face, right? So let's get our paper out now. And all we're going to do is cut out a couple of eyes, because the mouth is kind of like this open end here. It's like the fish is going, ooh. So all you need are a couple of big eyes to match. So you can just cut a couple of circles out of white paper, because fish eyes are kind of known for having big bulgy eyes, right? So they can just be perfect circles. And then you can just color in a pupil with some black markers. So once you have your eyes, just go ahead and glue them on. So just on either side of the head. I made my eyes pretty big. They maybe don't need to be this big, but it's kind of fun to have them big bulgy fish eyes. There. So here is the main part. Now we just have to make it into a kite, right? So we'll get out our dowel or stick or whatever we're using and our twine. And then you can use whatever size you like. I probably won't even cut mine. I'll just use it this way. And then take a side and double knot it around here. So trying to keep the sides kind of even, but they don't really need to be. So just tie a knot on your stick as tight as you can, And then once you have a knot, do it again just to make sure it's extra secure. So there, we've got 2 separate long strands hanging from a knot on our stick. So we're going to tape the ends of these strands inside the head side of our fish. So I'm probably going to use tape just because it's going to be a little bit easier to maneuver and it'll probably be a little more secure. But you could use glue for this if you didn't have some tape lying around. You just might have to do some repairs eventually if you're using glue. So just kind of stretch out your strands so they're kind of even. And grab one, stick the tape on the string first, and then just stick this in the fish's head. And then just do the same thing on the other piece, but stick this strand on the opposite side of the fish's head. So wherever you did it, just do it on the opposite side. And then here it is. So I can't really do it sitting down, but I'll show you guys how it works. So I wasn't able to show you guys how well it works outside on a windy day because it was actually raining. But here it is in my room with a fan. Alright guys, that's all I have this week. I hope you had fun making your kite sticker and your koinobori. I had a lot of fun doing it, and hopefully sometime soon it'll actually be windy outside and I can give this thing a try. That's all I have this week, but I will be back next week with another video, and I hope I see you guys then. Bye!